On a distant planet called Zephyria, the skies were once filled with bright colors and the sounds of laughter echoed through the lush forests. But now the planet was shrouded in darkness and sadness. The great queen, Lyra, sat on her throne in the heart of the Crystal Palace, her heart heavy with worry. She was known for her wisdom and strength, but today she felt powerless. The people of Zephyria were suffering. A fierce war had broken out with the neighboring empire of Draconis, a ruthless group that sought to conquer her peaceful world. They had destroyed villages and taken many Zephyrians as prisoners. Queen Lyra knew she had to do something, but her forces were dwindling and hope was slipping away. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, casting an orange glow over the palace, Lyra turned to her most trusted advisor, a wise elder named Thalos. "We cannot let our people suffer like this," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "We need a miracle." Thalos looked at her with concern. "There is an ancient prophecy, my queen," he said. "It speaks of a human who can save us. Only a human has the power to turn the tide of this war." Lyra frowned, unsure of what to believe. Humans were rare in their galaxy, known mostly for their bravery and unpredictability. "Do you truly think a human can help us?" she asked, skepticism in her eyes. "It is our only hope," Thalos replied firmly. "The prophecy says that a human will come to us when the time is right. We must summon him." Determined to save her people, Lyra agreed. She remembered an old artifact, a beautiful crystal orb that had been passed down through generations. It was said to connect with the stars and communicate with other worlds. With Thalos's help, she prepared the orb for the summoning ritual. As the moon rose high in the sky, Lyra stood before the orb, her heart pounding with both fear and hope. She placed her hands on the orb, closed her eyes, and whispered the ancient words taught to her by her ancestors. The orb began to glow, brighter and brighter, filling the room with a warm light. Suddenly, the light burst forth, creating a vision of a world far away. Lyra saw a young human warrior, skilled and brave, who had faced many challenges. His name was Alex, and he was known for his courage in the face of danger. But he was also haunted by his past, a burden that weighed heavily on him. In that moment, Lyra felt a connection to this human. She knew he was the one she needed. With all her strength, she sent her thoughts across the galaxy, reaching out to him. "Please, Alex, we need you," she cried in her mind. "Come to Zephyria and help us save my people." Meanwhile, on Earth, Alex was going through his daily routine. He was a fighter, known for his skills in combat, but he felt lost and empty inside. He had been through many battles, but none had given him the fulfillment he craved. As he trained in the woods, he suddenly felt a strange sensation, as if someone was calling to him. "Who's there?" he wondered aloud, looking around. But there was no one. The feeling grew stronger, and he realized it was not just a feeling, it was a voice in his mind. It was the voice of Queen Lyra pleading for his help. Conflicted, Alex thought about the Queen's message. Could he really help? Was he ready to leave everything behind and fight for someone he had never met? He took a deep breath, the weight of his decision heavy on his shoulders. "Maybe this is my chance to find purpose," he whispered to himself. With determination in his heart, he decided to follow the call. Little did he know, this journey would change his life forever, leading him to a world of magic, danger, and unexpected friendship. As Lyra finished the ritual, she felt a flicker of hope. Somewhere out there, her savior was preparing to come to Zephyria. The battle was not over, but for the first time in a long time, she believed they had a chance. The Queen's last hope rested in the hands of a human, and she was ready to fight for her people. On Earth, Alex stood in the quiet woods, the sun filtering through the leaves above. He had always found peace in nature, away from the noise of the city and the chaos of life. But today, the calm felt different. It was as if the trees themselves were whispering secrets. Just moments ago, he had felt a strange call, a powerful voice echoing in his mind. It was the voice of Queen Lyra, and it stirred something deep within him. "What am I supposed to do?" Alex thought, pacing back and forth. The weight of the Queen's plea sat heavy on his shoulders. He had always been a warrior, fighting battles on the ground. But could he really step into a new world and help someone he had never met? A feeling of doubt washed over him. But as he thought more about the Queen's words, his heart began to race. "This could be my chance to make a real difference," he whispered to himself. The memories of his past failures flashed before his eyes, reminding him of battles lost and friends hurt. He couldn't continue living like this, trapped in the same cycle of pain and regret. With newfound determination, Alex decided to accept the call. He closed his eyes and focused, picturing the crystal orb from Lyra's vision. Suddenly, the air around him shimmered, and before he could comprehend what was happening, he felt himself being pulled into a swirl of colors and light. When the brightness faded, he found himself standing on a beautiful alien planet. The skies were a vibrant shade of blue, and the ground was covered in soft, glowing grass. In the distance, he could see tall mountains that sparkled like jewels under the sun. "I made it," he thought in disbelief. Just then, a gentle voice broke his thoughts. "Welcome to Zephyria," it said. Alex turned to see a tall figure approaching him. It was a Zephyrian, with skin that glimmered like the stars and eyes that shone with kindness. "I am Ilara, the Queen's guard. Come, the Queen is waiting for you." Alex followed Ilara through the stunning landscapes, taking in the beauty around him. He felt both nervous and excited. "What if I can't help?" he wondered. But Ilara's presence calmed him, and he sensed that he was exactly where he was meant to be. Finally, they arrived at the Crystal Palace, where Queen Lyra awaited him. The palace was magnificent, with walls made of shimmering crystals that reflected light in all directions. As Alex entered the grand hall, he saw the Queen standing gracefully in her regal gown, her long hair cascading like a waterfall. "Alex," she said, her voice warm and inviting, "thank you for coming. I have been waiting for you." Feeling a mix of awe and nervousness, Alex bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, I am here to help, but I don't know if I am strong enough." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes filled with understanding. "You have more strength than you realize. You are brave, and that is what we need. Together we can save my people." As they spoke, Alex began to feel the weight of his past lifting. For the first time, he felt like he could be part of something bigger. Lyra shared the story of her planet, the beauty it once held, and the darkness that had fallen upon it. She told him about the rival empire of Draconis and their desire to control Zephyria. "We must unite my people and prepare for the battle ahead," Lyra said, her voice firm. "Will you help me rally my warriors?" With a nod, Alex felt a spark of determination. "Yes, I will help you. Let's bring hope back to your planet." Over the next few days, Alex trained with the Zephyrian warriors. They taught him their fighting styles, and in return, he shared human tactics. He quickly earned their respect, proving himself not just as a warrior, but as a leader. Together, they formed a strong bond, and for the first time, Alex felt a sense of belonging. As he and Lyra worked side by side, they grew closer. They exchanged stories about their worlds, dreams, and fears. Alex admired Lyra's courage and wisdom, while she found strength in his resolve and heart. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Alex stood beside Lyra on a balcony overlooking the kingdom. The view was breathtaking, and for the first time in a long while, Alex felt hope. "We will fight together," he said, looking at Lyra. "And we will win." With the stars beginning to twinkle in the night sky, both the human and the Queen knew that their destinies were intertwined. They were ready to face the challenges ahead, united in their fight for peace. Together they would stand against the darkness that threatened Zephyria, and Alex finally felt the fire of purpose burning in his heart. The air was thick with tension as the dawn broke over Zephyria. Alex stood on the balcony of the Crystal Palace, looking out at the vast expanse of the kingdom. The once bright colors of the landscape were now dulled by the looming threat of the Draconis Empire. The day had finally come, the day they would fight for their freedom. Beside him, Queen Lyra prepared her warriors for battle. Her heart raced with a mix of fear and determination. They had spent days training, building strategies, and forming alliances. Now it was time to put their plans into action. "Are you ready, Alex?" Lyra asked, her voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling around them. "I am," he replied, clenching his fists. "We've trained hard, and I believe in our cause. We can win this." With a final look at the peaceful kingdom they were defending, Alex and Lyra gathered the warriors in the courtyard. The soldiers stood tall, their armor shining in the morning light. They were ready to protect their home, and Alex felt a swell of pride to stand among them. "Today we fight for our freedom!" Lyra shouted, her voice echoing through the courtyard. "Today we fight for each other. Together we will face the darkness and reclaim our land." The warriors cheered, their voices filled with passion. Alex felt a rush of adrenaline as he looked at their determined faces. They were ready to go into battle, and he was honored to lead them. As they moved out towards the battlefield, the atmosphere shifted. The sounds of nature faded, replaced by the distant rumble of approaching war machines from Draconis. Alex and Lyra exchanged a glance, both knowing that the time for talk was over. The battlefield lay ahead, a vast plain dotted with hills and valleys. In the distance, they could see the Draconis forces assembling, their dark banners fluttering in the wind. The warriors of Zephyria took their positions, forming a line of defense. "Remember our training," Alex called to his troops. "Stay strong and trust one another. We can win this together!" The roar of the Draconis army grew louder, drowning out Alex's words. Suddenly, a loud horn echoed across the plains, signaling the start of the battle. "Here they come!" Lyra shouted, her eyes fierce with determination. The Draconis soldiers charged forward, a sea of dark armor and menacing weapons. Alex felt his heart race as he gripped his sword tightly. "For Zephyria!" he yelled, charging into the fray alongside the Queen and their warriors. The two forces collided with a thunderous clash, swords clashing against shields, and the sounds of battle filled the air. Alex fought with all his might, his training kicking in as he dodged attacks and struck back against his enemies. He could feel the energy of his fellow warriors around him, their courage lifting him higher. Lyra fought valiantly at his side, her movements graceful yet powerful. She inspired her warriors with every swing of her sword, reminding them that they were not alone. The bond between Alex and Lyra strengthened as they fought, their trust in one another growing with each challenge they faced. But as the battle raged on, Alex noticed that the Draconis forces were more numerous than they had anticipated. For every Zephyrian warrior that fell, 2 more seemed to take their place. Fear crept into his heart, but he pushed it aside. "We can't give up," he shouted, rallying those around him. The fight wore on, both sides suffering losses. Alex's heart ached as he saw his new friends fall, but he pressed forward, determined to honor their sacrifices. He and Lyra fought back to back, their movements synchronized as they defended one another against the relentless waves of attackers. Suddenly, a massive Draconis war machine emerged, crashing through the ranks of the Zephyrians. It spewed fire and destruction, sending warriors flying. Alex's heart sank as he watched his comrades struggle against the overwhelming power of the machine. "We need to take it down!" he shouted to Lyra, his voice barely heard over the chaos. "Follow me!" she replied, her determination shining through. Together they charged toward the war machine, weaving through the chaos of the battlefield. With the Queen leading the way, they rallied a group of brave warriors to help them. They attacked the machine with everything they had, their united strength creating a glimmer of hope. As they fought fiercely against the war machine, Alex felt the tide of battle beginning to shift. The warriors of Zephyria fought with renewed energy, inspired by their leaders. They would not back down. With a final push, they struck a critical blow to the machine, causing it to stumble and crash to the ground. The sound of victory echoed across the battlefield, igniting a fire in the hearts of the Zephyrians. "Keep fighting!" Lyra shouted, her voice cutting through the noise. "We can win this!" With their spirits lifted, the warriors surged forward, fighting harder than ever. Alex felt a powerful surge of hope as he looked around, realizing that together they were stronger than any darkness. The battle had begun, and they were ready to reclaim their home. As the dust settled on the battlefield, a heavy silence hung in the air. The fight against the Draconis Empire had been fierce, but victory was finally within their grasp. Alex stood among the ruins, breathing heavily, his heart pounding with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. Around him, the brave warriors of Zephyria were catching their breath, their faces reflecting a blend of relief and disbelief. They had done it. They had fought and won. Queen Lyra walked through the battlefield, her regal presence commanding attention. Though bruised and weary, her spirit shone brighter than ever. She had led her people through the storm, and they had emerged victorious. As she approached Alex, he could see the gratitude in her eyes. "We did it, Alex!" she exclaimed, her voice ringing with joy. "We really did it!" Alex smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. "We did it together. Your leadership inspired everyone. Without you, we might not have won." Lyra nodded, her expression serious for a moment. but we lost many good warriors today. We must honor them and remember their bravery. Together they walked through the remnants of the battlefield, acknowledging their fallen friends. Each warrior had given their all, and their sacrifices would never be forgotten. As they paused to pay respect, Alex felt a heavy weight in his chest. The battle had been brutal, but it had forged a bond between him and the Zephyrians, a bond of trust and courage. "Let us gather everyone and celebrate our victory," Lyra suggested, her eyes brightening. "We have much to look forward to." As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the land, the survivors gathered in the heart of the kingdom. The Crystal Palace stood proudly in the background, a symbol of hope and resilience. Lyra stood on a raised platform, ready to address her people. "Brave warriors of Zephyria," she called out, her voice strong. "Today we have shown the world our strength. We faced darkness and emerged victorious. We fought not just for ourselves, but for the future of our planet." Cheers erupted from the crowd, their voices filled with excitement and pride. Alex felt a surge of emotion as he looked around. They had united against a common enemy and won, proving that together they were unstoppable. "We honor our fallen comrades today," Lyra continued, her tone becoming somber. "Their courage will live on in our hearts, and their sacrifice will not be forgotten." Alex watched as the crowd bowed their heads in remembrance. He felt a sense of responsibility to carry their legacy forward. They had fought for a new beginning, and he was determined to help build that future. After the moment of silence, Lyra's voice rang out once more. "Let us celebrate our victory! We have a new beginning ahead of us, and together we will restore Zephyria to its former glory." As the celebrations began, laughter and joy filled the air. Music played, and the warriors danced together, their spirits lifted after the battle. Alex found himself caught up in the excitement, smiling and laughing alongside his new friends. The camaraderie and unity were unlike anything he had ever experienced on Earth. Later in the evening, as the stars twinkled above like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky, Alex and Lyra stepped away from the festivities for a moment. They found a quiet spot overlooking the vibrant kingdom, and the peacefulness enveloped them. "You fought valiantly today," Lyra said, her voice softening. "I couldn't have asked for a better partner in battle." Alex turned to her, feeling a warmth in his heart. "I learned from the best. You inspire everyone around you, Lyra. You're not just a queen, you're a true leader." Lyra smiled, her eyes shining. "And you've shown me the power of human courage. You taught us that strength comes in many forms." In that moment, their bond deepened, a connection that transcended their different worlds. They both knew that they had found something special in one another, a friendship that could grow into something even more meaningful. As the festivities continued behind them, Alex felt a sense of purpose take root within him. He had come to Zephyria as a warrior, but he was leaving as a hero. With Lyra by his side, they would build a brighter future together. The battle was over, but their journey was just beginning. They would face new challenges, but with the strength of their people and their growing friendship, Alex felt ready for whatever lay ahead. A new beginning was dawning, not just for Zephyria, but for him as well. Together, they would write a new story, one filled with hope, courage, and endless possibilities.